Fuyumura Kaede, who is an assassin as well. This movie is kind of like company people versus independent contractors, the movie. So
yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with a H, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Thavy. Hey, Thavy.
Hello there.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Are you ready for the last episode of the year, or possibly the first episode of the new year? Whenever this comes out.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Whenever this comes out. Yeah, I mean...
if you're listening to this after the 31st, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. And have a Merry Christmas and all, which we've said in our... mouth washing is up, which I haven't rewatched yet, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you're listening to this on Spotify, check out on YouTube. We played the entire playthrough of the video game mouth washing. It was a good old Christmas time.
How was your Christmas?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I went to Bondi Beach during the day and a family dinner at night. Yeah, Christmas stuff. It was really busy at Bondi Beach. So.
Yeah, no shit. It would be.
Yeah, not too bad. We weren't actually on the beach. We were just on the grass, like beach adjacent. Yeah. How was your Christmas?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, it was pretty chill. Just did family stuff at home. Had a turkey, had a smoked ham.
Yeah.
We're still eating these leftovers 2-3 days later. Yeah, no, we always eat way too much food, and it's getting harder each year to just eat a lot because we're getting older. So we can't stomach as much food as I used to. I used to be able to stuff my plate 2-3 times, and it's just so we might have to make some adjustments for next year. But no, it was good. And then we just went to another mate's place after, and then we just hung out and had a few beers over there. And then we watched a very special Christmas movie, which I'll mention a little bit before we get into Baby Assassins 3. But yeah, it was pretty chill, and just looking forward to New Year's, which I have not really any plans yet. So maybe I'll just be home alone with my drink, Yeah.
Yeah,
which is not too bad.
Nothing wrong with a quiet New Year's.
We're limited with our New Year's. We've only got 40 of them left, don't we?
It's pretty bleak, Tom. Strangely optimistic as well.
Bleak and optimistic. you can never quite get it when you're chatting with me. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Who knows? Yeah. 40 would be good, man. Damn, would be.
Yeah, we'd be doing well. Yeah. Still doing this podcast, presumably.
Yeah. I mean, most people would probably try to do a news segment where we recap everything within the year, but we're not going to do that. But we did.
We're going to do that next year. We're going to do that at the start of next year, Thavy. when everybody's trying to get over 2024, we're going to be talking about 2024's movies. Yeah, look forward to that in the new year.
I was watching the news before while I was eating dinner. I'm not sure if this is just the news, but it seems like 2024 was a horrible year. It's it's just there's been a lot of death. But let's try to lighten it up with our
with our news segments coming up today. We've got a fairly chill episode to cap off the year, or to ring in the new year whenever it comes out. We're going to be talking about NewJeans separating from Adore. We're also going to be talking about Knocked Loose appearing live on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Kimmel, right?
It's Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon's
one of the Jimmys. Anyway, but we're also going to be talking a little bit about Terrifier 3 before getting to the main review of today's episode, which is Baby Assassin's Nice Days, or Baby Assassins 3. Yeah, all right. Well, let's talk about some bad stuff, Thavy. NewJeans. Yeah. So this is not exactly news at time of recording, but
it's ongoing.
It's ongoing.
And we love making enemies with HYBE acolytes, it seems.
Yeah, I always find it strange that there's so many of them, and they're so what's the word I'm looking for?
Mentally challenged.
They're so They're so adamant in defense of this mega corporation that is clearly evil. But anyway, November 28th, NewJeans, very popular girl group, conducted a emergency press conference in which they announced that they were going to separate from their agency Adore.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how it works really though, because I still see them release stuff on their Instagram and their YouTube channel, which still has the Adore label. So I'm not sure.
Well, like you say, it's ongoing, I guess.
Yeah, I think the most recent thing that I heard about it was that Honey is in a little bit of trouble because of a work visa, because Adore were sponsoring it or something like that.
For those that may not be familiar with the ongoing NewJeans situation, I mean, we've talked about it. Everybody's been talking about it, I guess, for the past couple of months. But essentially, NewJeans has wanted to leave Adore ever since Min Hee-jin got kicked out of Adore as CEO. They presented an ultimatum, gave Adore 2 weeks to rectify a bunch of apparent breaches in their contracts. And then after that 40 days and nothing's been done, they've decided it's time to leave. Now, whether or not legally they're allowed to just leave is another question. I think Adore is kind of counterclaiming that there has been no breach, I guess, or none significant enough for the girls to be able to break their contract. Yeah, I mean, without knowing exactly what kind of contract the girls have signed, it's just speculation, really. Anything that anybody can really do is speculate. But yeah, basically, NewJeans has said, we're not going to be doing work for Adore anymore. We're going to do our own thing.
I guess the criticism, for music heads in general, was saying it kind of sets a bad precedence because it means that other artists can sort of, just kind of up and leave whenever they want if they feel like they're having some form of injustice towards them or they feel like they're being treated unfairly.
Yeah.
Of course, there's, grounds to exploit this system. Some people will do it if, NewJeans are successful. But also it's I mean, I don't really trust HYBE very much.
If the way that we've been talking has not been obvious enough, we're pretty firmly on the artist's side in this particular
because,
instance.
In
most instances.
Coming from the background of, being a filmmaker and mostly on the indie circuit, it's mostly I am going to be on the artist side. That's just a given, whether you can type whatever you want to type about that. But I mean, just look at, I'm not sure whether this is related or not, but I mean, look at the president of South Korea, man. Declaring martial law.
Yeah, well, he's no longer the president, right?
He's one entity, right?
Yeah.
But of course, films and media present a skewed image of people in power. And a lot of it, Korea, is them kind of being inept or corrupt. But that does not come from nothing. And I think just the way HYBE has kind of been really petty about some things. And I get that, Min Hee-jin is not perfect either. And to be honest, I don't really know which news source to trust. Only Ming. That's the only one I trust because, he's probably biased as well. But I think for me, it just really rubbed me the wrong way when they were deleting the guy that shot all the, oh my God, behind the scenes and shot the video, which he had nothing to do with it. And then it's just let's scrub it clean. So there's obviously just ego going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to bend to Min Hee-jin's will, but the fact that they're just not doing anything with NewJeans kind of out of spite now is sort of you're kind of getting rid of the next cultural phenomenon of K-pop group. And, you'll have a bunch of people who say oh yeah, you're just another NewJeans casual or whatever. Yeah, fine. What other artists from HYBE, aside from maybe Le Sserafim,
BTS?
Have really reached the zeitgeist? Yeah, I know BTS is obviously the outlier, but anyone else, I
Elite, Thavy.
Elite?
I think you're forgetting about Elite.
their songs catchy too, but they're they don't have the same. This might be mean or not, but they don't have the same sway as a NewJeans. They don't have the same international appeal as a NewJeans.
They didn't have the same impact, I think. The
fact that NewJeans has this appeal, but also everyone likes them, even from a musical standpoint, and then you're kind of just pissing that away. It could be the fault of both Min Hee-jin and HYBE, but yeah, I'm just gonna say I think HYBE is probably more in the wrong with this.
Yeah, I mean the girls, the breach that they're talking about is the fact that they've been bullied by the company, I guess.
And you're always gonna have detractors. You'll see like some of the they're just a bunch of brats who think they deserve this and that. And it's like, oh, shut the fuck up. What do you know about?
I have no doubt.
What do you know about music?
That they have been mistreated in some way.
Most
and their complaints are justified. But whether they have a legal leg to stand on is a different story, I think. Musical contracts in particular have always been firmly on the side of companies and pretty unfair to artists in general. I think there's been a history of, artists trying to take litigation against their companies. I think it happened to George Michael at one point, maybe. And it never comes out positively towards art, or very rarely comes out positively or in the artist's favor. So I do wish them the best of luck, but I have a feeling it's not going to go the way that they expect it to go.
Yeah. Well, I just hope that the shit is still sorted out and they can just make good music. Just leave this shit behind, like whatever woes that they're feeling at the moment.
I mean, if they're willing to pay damages to HYBE, then probably that's achievable. But I mean, they have about 60 months left in their contract. If they refuse to work for a door and, a court finds that there's not been enough of a breach for them to walk away, then they're looking to pay a lot of money. I think estimated 300 billion Korean won, which is about 215 million US.
And if HYBE does win this case, they are just not going to make them release any music for the next 60 months, right?
Yeah.
Like, for sure. There's definitely going to be like a grudge. They're just going to be cunts about it, really. I mean, that's corporations.
Yeah. I mean, I think even if they lose, they're not too worried, I think. They still have groups. I mean, they still have 17. They still have LE SSERAFIM. They still have Elite, and BTS is probably going to regroup in 2025. So, whichever way this pans out, I think HYBE is going to be just fine.
I'm just still perplexed as to how many people love HYBE.
Yeah.
Because I don't really understand it. Like, I give a lot of shit to Disney, but I understand why people love Disney, because there's, an amalgamation of good stuff that they've released in the past and it's touched a lot of people's lives. But doesn't HYBE only really have BTS and maybe recently LE SSERAFIM and
I think you're forgetting about the men that just hate women, Thavy. you forgot to factor that into your calculations. I think.
Really? Do you think it's mostly men? Because it kind of seems like it's just a lot of young girls, because women hate each other, don't they?
Well, there is that
there's
as
also
well.
men as well. Yeah.
I think it's just this culture of the internet just hating women, I think, in general, which it's unfortunate. But
it'd just be sad, because there's a legitimate good cultural movement of good music that's coming from K-pop, because there hasn't been a shift in a long time. But there's a bunch of idiots who wish them the worst and just want no change. And, probably don't listen to anything else aside from K-pop and probably Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, good on them for plowing along. It must not have been easy for them to, keep on going despite all of the, negativity towards them when they're just trying to do the right thing, objectively speaking. I think they can probably take solace in the fact that they have made such a cultural impact in the world of K-pop and changed that part of the music industry, but also all of this legal action that they're pursuing. I think even though maybe I do feel that they probably should have sought out stronger legal advice before jumping the gun and announcing that they're leaving, I think that the fact that they are doing all this and is generating a lot of noise is probably going to create a better future in some way for artists in K-pop, hopefully, anyway. Yeah, good on them, man.
Yeah, artists do get mistreated a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to put up with it. If you're being mistreated, you shouldn't have to put up with it, to be honest. And I think the message that they're putting out there is pretty strong.
Even if they lose, I think the message will be beneficial for future artists under the genre of K-pop.
Hopefully. all things will just stay the same because everything is terrible, Thavy. 2024, worst year out. Shall we move along?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, best of luck, NewJeans. I wish you all the best.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about another band.
The other spectrum.
On the other end of the spectrum. So you know more about this than I do, but Knocked Loose, famous heavy metal band, performed on Jimmy Kimmel Live, which, as far as I know, it's not the usual musical guest that you see on Jimmy Kimmel Live. No. I honestly have never watched an episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live.
No, I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel either. But like Boone linked it to me and he said, this shit is wild. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Like Knocked Loose on Jimmy Kimmel. And most people know that Jimmy Kimmel is like probably one of the most mainstream late night shows or talk shows that's on TV of that brand, and they usually have just a regular popular artist like like Maroon 5 or Taylor Swift's probably too big for.
They probably had Bruno Mars and Rosie on there. Yeah. Non-offensive music.
A lot of it is not offensive music, but yeah, he showed me the stage and I thought, oh man, this is fucking wicked. They had fucking pyrotechnics. There was a huge mosh. Like there were a lot of people because it was outside. And I was just really surprised because they would have to set all of this up only for one song, and they played the hell out of it. And the song features Poppy as well. For some of our listeners who are probably wondering why, like, are we talking about Knocked Loose? Well, one, they're like probably my favorite band this year, but yeah, we did a reaction with my good friend who had a positive reaction. To
because it's good music.
We had Angel on the show. Yeah, it's good music. It's good music. Yeah, I'm a bit of but not everyone had the same reaction as my friend.
Oh yes, as we saw from the comments on Jimmy Kimmel's videos.
It was one article, I think. I forgot what the source was. But basically, they had just scoured through some of the Facebook comments from Jimmy Kimmel. And some of them were really funny. There's like the marquee one where the woman said, like, I was up watching Jimmy Kimmel and me and my adolescent child, and she put adolescent in caps, were like watching, and then they were expecting nice music, but she said like her son was horrified after the third chug or whatever. And I just laughed and like, oh, your son must be like the biggest fucking pussy ever. So it was just kind of arcing back to the moral panic era of when Kiss were making music, and probably Elvis to the point. And I love it when like when crusty old bitches get upset at the evolution, because it's mostly women that are getting upset as well, and they're just like raising their kids to be like the softest pieces of no, I'm not going to call them, because they're probably not their fault, but just very soft people who will just like cry at not even at the scream. She said like the chug of the guitar of the chord. So I was like, man, like has your adolescent child just not even heard of a guitar before or something? Yeah. But I think as soon as that was released, all the Knocked Loose fans and metal fans kind of basically counter flooded the comments. Were like, oh yeah, we love it. Like Karen's getting offended by metal and stuff. Yeah, it's great.
It is pretty good press for them, to be fair.
It's fantastic press for them. I mean, the lead singer basically said like, we heard we upset a few people. Good. Yeah. That's it, really.
That's what you want in a heavy metal band, is to be edgy, right?
Yeah.
I just find it fascinating that somebody on the staff of Jimmy Kimmel decided that, yeah, this is probably in line with our brand.
It's true. Maybe they just got like the metalhead guy or something. Yeah. But it was a great performance. Yeah, and it's really cool to see metal on the mainstream stage, because I'm not going to say it's a dying genre, because metalcore is really popular. You got Bring Me the Horizon, Architects, who I've seen a couple of times, and they're like great. They've got like a pretty dedicated community of people. I'd say it's like pretty medium-sized community now, and I think this kind of music is getting more popular. It doesn't seem like it's getting popular in the mainstream until I guess now Jimmy Kimmel's proven me wrong. I'm good. So yeah, I want to see more of this kind of music.
And the community seems really nice as well. Like we were just talking about K-pop as well, and like compared to K-pop,
right? Like
like the heavy metal community in general, it's so pleasant. Like just looking at the comments on that video of ours, you know, they're so supportive of the bands that they like, and they're not like, it's not in kind of like a toxic way either. It's just really like, you know, we like that you like this stuff as well.
I mean, look, there's definitely like gatekeepers and elitists, because I think in some of the Facebook, they're like, you think Knock Loose is like underground, basically. It's like they're just as mainstream as everyone else. And I think Nick Nocturnal, who's a pretty popular YouTuber who talks about metal a lot, he was basically said like, guys, just fucking take the win for a change, man. Like, Jesus Christ, just take the win. Just like, Knock Loose. I listened to like, you know, that did I send you that video of the Japanese drummer guy who goes to venues and he just has a snare drum and then he just like writes around with the snare drum and makes weird noise.
Sounds good though.
I think I sent it to your wife.
Yeah.
And you can ask. I forgot the guy's name, but it's really funny. Yeah. Maybe I'll put a little caption there if you guys want to sync it out. But that stuff's actually sort of entertaining to watch as well, because it's kind of absurd. Just like people stuck in a room watching this Japanese guy with a snare drum and one stick and just writhing around and making weird noises, and people kind of just rocking
now
out.
That's music. That's music. That's the real hard shit right there.
Yeah, but the metal, I think metal, because in K-pop it seems if you have a favorite band or a favorite artist, you're sort of more like, you should only listen to this artist. I mean, of course, this is just the most hardcore, you know, but K-pop fans are fucking crazy.
No, I think it's also an age thing. I think the heavy metal fans are generally older, like us.
We are older,
and probably just too tired to become impassioned about anything, really.
No, but we like sharing our music, because if you like these guys, you should check out these guys, which is what we got a lot in our comments in that video. But
that's not to say that we're not haters as well. We hate plenty on stuff we don't like. Wicked review coming up soon. So you're allowed to like what you like, right? And I just find it interesting that the Jimmy Kimmel Show made this choice, but I think the outcome was good. I think a small amount of people got upset, but that was actually beneficial to the artists themselves. So good.
I want to see more metal.
Good on you, Jimmy. Don't make it lame. You have a tendency to make things lame, Jimmy. Just don't do that to this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's always the issue of when something is cool, it gets less cool when corporations get involved and they're like, or
anyone that's just not cool. Remember that time Jared Leto got on the "It's Morbin time" joke and it just killed the meme?
Oh, yeah, it just killed the meme. Yeah. It's Morbin time, and it's like, okay.
Time to stop.
I guess it's over. Time to stop.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You just, it's kind of funny how it just stops. But Knock Loose, I think they were my most listened to band last year, according to my Spotify recap.
Wow, that's pretty good to beat out Nayeon.
Yeah. Nayeon wasn't even number one. Actually, I apparently listened to IU a lot more than Nayeon.
Yeah.
Which probably makes sense, because I didn't really like the Nayeon EP that much. I only really listened to ABCD. But anyway.
You're not a true fan, Thavy.
Yeah. I'm not a true fan. That's fine. You just like a lot of music. It's okay.
Yeah. You're too into Japanese snare drum snake guy to be listening to Nayeon all the
time. You should check it out, man. It's really fun. I'll send you a link after this. Yeah.
Please do. All right, Thavy. Shall we move it along?
Yeah. Christmas movies. Did you watch your usual Christmas movies this year?
Not usual. I watch a bunch of new ones that I haven't seen before. You know, the Netflix ones?
With Chad Michael
Murray, Lindsay Lohan. I had a pretty good time watching those with my wife, you know? Like, but I mean, I say that, but a couple of them are ending on my worst movies of 2024 list.
Is that why you watched them? You needed to sneak a few onto your
I
your
enjoyed
list.
watching them. For what they are, it was a fun time. But like, they're not good movies, I would say.
They look horrible. I've seen my mum watch them from time to time.
Yeah.
Glance at them, and it's like, ooh. I know these are movies that were probably shot in like 5 days.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's
Good on you, Chad Michael. Just earn that Netflix money.
Yeah, and that Netflix money.
But
yeah.
I mean, I was struggling to find 10 worst movies, Thavy. So for me to say that they're on my 10 worst movies list, it's
oh really?
It's not actually
There's
that bad.
Been a lot.
Yeah, but I haven't watched them. I've been watching good movies this year, Thavy.
You haven't watched Kraven the Hunter yet?
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I didn't watch Venom 3. I didn't watch Joker 2.
Madam Web.
I haven't watched Madam Web.
You haven't watched Red 1?
Yeah, I might watch Red 1 just to fill out the list. But
Red 1 is pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's got Red Notice energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like not necessarily a really bad movie, but because it is so, it's like, it's not really a movie,
It's just a testament to like who gives a fuck, right?
Yeah. Well, The Rock apparently does, but we're not talking about those movies.
Yeah,
we might talk about them.
Yeah, look forward to that episode in the new year.
Yeah. But no, there's been I'm pretty. I want to say I'm a huge fan, but I do really enjoy the Terrifier franchise. I haven't seen the short films. I've only seen Terrifier 1 and 2. I guess I'll get on to, I think, All Hallows Eve, and I think there's the other one that Damien Leone made. But yeah, Terrifier 3 was a Christmas-themed Terrifier, and for people who don't know what Terrifier is about, it's basically about a kind of immortal supernatural demon killer clown slasher guy who goes around and kills people in extremely brutal manner.
Yeah, I only know of this franchise from Reputation. I haven't watched any of these films, but I know they are particularly gruesome. And I think like the marketing leads into that fact, right? That they're they're brutal movies.
Well, it does sort of follow like a protagonist, but she only really comes into the second one. So it's sort of about her trying to, because she essentially, I guess, spoilers, kills Art in the second one. But spoilers, he's
an immortal clown.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this one was Christmas themed, and it had come out, I think, while we were in Japan. And I wanted to go watch it at the cinema, but I'd waited it for us. Well, why not watch it during Christmas? So I think after our festivities were done, and I think it was around maybe 12:30 a.m. or 1 a.m. we chucked on this movie and had some snacks and whatever, even though we were fucking completely stuffed.
Yeah. And you're vomited and shat your pants in Community, right? That's how the night ended.
Yeah.
You all left the theater in disgust and then wrote an angry letter to Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, well, this movie it didn't upset people, but a lot of people kind of fainted and walked out. But that's all part of the marketing, really.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't go watch this movie if you didn't know what it was, right?
Yeah, that's true. Because I think this movie is pretty damn violent. Like, yeah, sure. It's what it is. But I felt like it didn't have as much impact as the second one.
Okay.
There is kind of a marquee kill where there's basically a chainsaw up someone's ass
Lovely.
and cutting off some dick and balls and seeing it as well.
Okay.
There's a few child deaths.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's pretty mean, right?
It's mean. Yeah. To be fair, the child deaths are sort of like off screen, but you see the results of the murder. But there's a couple of kills in this which is they're very fun, ripping off people's faces and liquid nitrogen people and
so it's like pretty practical, right, these films?
Yeah, I think because Damien Leone, I think he comes from a VFX background, and I've seen snippets of behind the scenes of like the previous Terrifier movies, and majority of it is practical effects. I think it's kind of like cheaper, and these movies sort of have they're very low budget films. I mean, Terrifier 3 only had a budget of $2 million, which is not nothing, but for most movie, that's just like what Marvel drops out to pay one VFX guy to make the Hulk green or something like that,
Sure.
you know, or to make The Rock like make a TikTok post about Red One. That's probably what
You saw it in IMAX, Thavy, in the chair that Christopher Nolan used.
We can't do this in IMAX. For all those who saw Red One in IMAX, I don't feel sorry for you, because what the hell were you thinking? But anyway, yeah, this movie was a $2 million budget, and yeah, it's a worldwide smash. It made 89 million according to Wiki. So huge gross back. Yeah. And like you can tell the budget is a bit more in this one, but you can kind of see within its like color grade, and some of the visual effects, the practical effects have that sort of uncanny look where it's kind of fake but not really. It is fake unless he's actually killing people. There's a cameo from Chris Jericho as well.
Oh, nice. That couldn't have been cheap.
There you go.
But I do like these movies that trade on, you know, practical effects and are made by people with visual effects backgrounds. Like you know, we've talked about The Sadness in the past with Rob Jabez having that background in visual effects. I think they're really good at making these movies kind of on the cheap, but you know, it doesn't need to always look 100% realistic.
I think that's the charm of it. There's the soul behind it. You know?
Sure. That's why The Thing is such a timeless movie. You know, it wouldn't have been as timeless if they drowned it in CGI. Yeah.
Oh wow! I was just having a look at the previous, like Terrifier 1 only had a $55,000 budget, and then Terrifier 2 had a $250,000 budget, and 3 had 2 million. So yeah, she's stepping it up,
making a lot of money for R-rated films that are like this.
I think my criticism for this movie is that the story may not be as strong as the second one. Surprisingly, I quite enjoyed the story, and there's kind of these weirder scenes in the second one which I enjoyed a little bit more. I think this one, Terrifier 3, is kind of a lot more plot focus, but the kills are fun. It's all quite gory. It's all quite sickening. There wasn't any kill in this movie that made me like feel like, oh, okay, that's a bit much. But I think there's one in the second one where I'm like, that's kind of overkill. But yeah, in this one it was just all fun, all good stuff.
Do you think there's a danger in series like this succumbing to kind of gimmickry, I guess? Like comparing it to like the Saw franchise, for example, how like, you know, they're pretty low budget and you know, initially they start off, you know, with a pretty strong story, but then they kind of just become torture porn.
Yeah, it's hard because Saw was always quite a serious movie, whereas the Terrifier series is extremely tongue-in-cheek. It's very camp. And this one does end on a sort of a cliffhanger. So there's definitely going to be a Terrifier 4. It's already in production. And with the amount of money it made, it would definitely have a sequel coming up.
Yeah.
But I think there's always a danger for any franchise that suddenly has mass cult appeal, and then there's a lot of them. At this point in time, I still really enjoyed the Terrifier series. Yeah, they're not the best stories, but that's fine, because I don't think you're watching this movie for its story. You're just watching it for the kills, and yeah, pretty gruesome. A lot of high death counts, especially for the guy that caused a chainsaw up the ass. That was probably the one where like, whew, god damn, that's it's gotta be painful. Whether that's a spoiler or not, it's not really.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Terrifier. People die.
People are gonna get a chainsaw in the ass. It's inevitable. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like good Christmas viewing.
Good Christmas viewing, yeah. But I mean, speaking of films that have had sudden cult success and have had a lot of media just come from the one IP, intellectual property.
And that are in danger of succumbing to gimmickry, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's hold on to that thought. Let's talk about Baby Assassins 3 or Baby Assassins Nice Days.
Yeah. This came out a lot sooner than I had anticipated. And there's also, which I haven't seen all of yet because I haven't got the subtitles for them, the Baby Assassins Every Day.
Oh, yeah.
So
this is a web series?
Yeah, no, it's a TV series.
Okay.
but you can watch them on the Japanese streaming service Uplay.
Mm-hmm.
The whole season's out. There's 12 episodes, and I've seen like a few of them.
Yeah.
And there's actually one episode which is quite like, it's interesting because I'm not sure if it was the fault of the episode or if they were kind of going for something that is suddenly like quite somber. I was just like, oh, I didn't really know what to feel. But maybe when that whole series is out and we can watch it, we can review it. But yeah, no, following Baby Assassin's Nice Days, which is, you can probably see, probably had a bigger budget than the first two. It's definitely the most action-packed out of the three of them.
So this is the third movie in the Baby Assassin series, written and directed by Sakamoto Yugo. The movie series follows a couple of teenage assassins, Chisato and Mahiro. Basically, they're just a couple of best friends, trying to earn some money by being assassins. But, they're not really good at making money or being adults. Baby Assassin...
They're Gen Zers.
Yeah, basically. Baby Assassin's Nice Days sees the couple visiting the coastal city of Miyazaki, where they unexpectedly cross paths with a bloodthirsty assassin who's looking to add to his personal body count.
Yes.
So if you're not familiar with this series, I mean, we'll probably talk non-spoilers. It's not super spoilery movie. But if you want to go into it fresh, maybe check it out first before listening to this. Anyway, like...
Nah, dude, it's a great series. Love them.
Really enjoyed every one of these movies to varying degrees, which we'll probably talk about now. But essentially they're pretty lighthearted assassin flicks. It's kind of... The tone is a little bit hard to explain, kind of like funny, but action-packed, I guess. Yeah.
There's nothing really like it out there. And I think that's why it has received such a cult status. I mean, if you look at it from like a proper like Western, look, I mean, on the IMDb's, they don't have a lot of ratings, but they've made 3 movies and a TV series. So that's not, counting for nothing.
Yeah. I think if you like anime, you'd probably be into this movie series because the tone is, it's kind of all over the place. Even the stories, they're not like, they're not what you would expect, I guess, in this kind of movie.
It's very left of center for something that doesn't seem like it's really that different. But it's interesting because I was just thinking the other day, you are watching anti-heroes, but they just, you don't think about that because they're kind of very relatable people.
Sure.
And the main appeal of this series is you're watching the banter between Akari Takaishi, who plays Chisato, and Saori Izawa, who plays Mahiro. So Saori is the stunt woman. She comes from the background. I think she did a few stunts for Rina Sawayama in John Wick 4.
Oh, yeah?
So she hasn't had too many acting roles, but like she does a great job as Mahiro, who's kind of
she's more awkward.
The shyer, the awkward one, where Chisato is the more outgoing. I really like it's funny, the actress who plays her, Akari, for people who aren't really that familiar with this kind of Japanese acting, her facial expressions are really funny in this movie. They're kind of very over the top.
She's like an anime character, basically.
For some people, it'll probably not work because it's a bit too silly. But given the tone of the films, I think it works really well. And I actually watched a behind the scenes of this as well, but it was all in Japanese, so I could only really just place together the bits of vocab that I knew. But yeah, it seems that they have a really good relationship with each other. And
so they've been on 3+ movies now. So like I think their chemistry is stronger than ever in this film, and it makes sense having worked together for a bit longer now. They bounce off each other really well.
And she does more action choreography as well. She's improved. She doesn't fight that much in the first one, a little bit in the second one, but she's definitely kind of improved herself a lot in the third one. I think
she's getting in there.
I think she's got a movie coming out that is also written by Sakamoto Yugo, but not directed by him.
Okay.
And it's an action movie. I think it's called like Ghost Killer or something, according to IMDb. So that looks cool. Yeah. This is also the first movie where they are not overpowered as well. The first two movies, they kind of beat their foes quite easily.
Second movie, not so much, I think.
Not so much, but like still, they're not too much of a struggle.
This movie introduces a big bad in the form of Fuyumura Kaede, who is assassin as well. This movie is kind of like company people versus independent contractors. The movie. So Kaede would be the independent contractor. He's kind of working for himself, or he has a manager, but he doesn't work for the company that Chisato and Mahiro work for. And because of this,
he's a freelancer.
Yeah, he's a freelancer. Because of this, they are tasked with the mission to find him and kill him. He is really good, though. He's the strongest antagonist that any of these movies has seen. Basically, he bests Mahiro in combat. And she's supposed to be the muscle. He's basically a one-man army. He's taken down a lot of like big groups of professional killers as well. He's a bit of a psycho as well, but kind of in an awkward way. I like his character. I think he's suitably awkward for this movie. He's not too serious. Like he's pretty dark, but like he's got pretty like fun moments of levity as well.
There's one particular moment.
Is it when they're in the van?
Film, which is really it's really funny. It's really funny.
It's a really funny edit. They're like, he's in this van like surrounded by like these goons that don't really like him, but he's kind of having fun banter with them and showing them his gun, and they kind of bond over that. And it's like just a really funny edit.
It's just it's really funny because it kind of seems out of character as well, but kind of still in tone with the movie. But in this movie, Chisato and Mahiro team up with Iruka Minami, who's played by ex-AKB48 Maeda Atsuko, who I've seen in a Kiyoshi Kurosawa film, To the Ends of the Earth. She's really good in that movie. And I forgot her muscle-bound sidekicks.
Nanase Riku, played by Otani Mondo.
I love this guy's backstory because all it is that I was a bodybuilder and it didn't work out because I wasn't making enough money. So I became an assassin. And that's it. I love how in this world, if it's kind of like being an assassin, it's just another business.
It's just so mundane.
He's had no tortured life. He's not a psycho. He just had a failed business as a bodybuilder or something. And it's really funny. And that's his character. He's supposed to be like a little bit of a fool, I suppose, but that's all you need for a backstory of this character, and it just works really well.
Yeah. I think it's fun that he is just kind of like a muscle guy as well. Whereas, like we'll probably talk a bit more about the fight choreography in a bit, but I like how he kind of brings a different element of action to the action scenes, I guess. Where he's kind of throwing people around and roughhousing them rather than the girls that are just kind of like scurrying around.
Scurrying and fluid,
but they all have pretty like lighthearted backstories. All of these company people. Kaede probably has the darkest backstory, but he's pretty much just trying to get to a number, right? Like his motivation is he wants to get 1,000 kills under his belt or something. Is that
150?
150, okay.
Because the inciting incident is that when they go to kill their target, they come across him and they basically interrupt his
final
150th kill, which he was really holding on for, even though it's like, I guess he's in terms of an official kill because he has killed a lot of people. I mean, it's implied that he killed a classroom of kids at some point when in one of his backstories. Like, damn, man, it's dark. It's interesting because, I mean, the subject matter of this movie is quite dark, but these movies are definitely like not dark. Like, this is a G-rated film in Japan, apparently.
Okay. It's pretty violent, though.
It's pretty violent. I'm surprised. I still have no idea how the rating system works. If you watch through the credits, it's like, this is G-rated. Like, okay. But you essentially, everyone in this movie is an anti-hero, and Hollywood has really been struggling to write these kind of characters, like heroes that stumble upon that gray area. And in the the Baby Assassins TV series, that becomes really apparent in one episode. The one that kind of made me feel a bit weird at the ending of it. I'm like, oh damn, that's I'm not sure how I feel about that ending. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see these really like fun, lighthearted people, but they are anti-heroes, but they seem like normal, they're normal Gen Zers, right?
Yeah. And that comes across in the banter as well, I think.
It's more apparent with Asuko Maeda's character because she's a millennial. She's our age. And I think we talked about that a little bit in our previous chat with Baby Assassins 1 and 2. There's a pretty funny scene because she's obviously not very impressed by Chisato and Mahiro's
lack of professionalism.
Lack of, that's the best way. Lack of professionalism. Yeah. And then she has the trope of like, oh, okay, now let's synchronize our watches and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, we don't have watches. It's like, what? I mean, like, we all just use our smartphone now. Like, he has a watch. And it's just like, there's very clearly more of a tension between Chisato and Minami. And it's just really funny. Just like, oh, like, can I fucking kill this bitch or something?
It's pretty realistic, like the dynamic between a outspoken Gen Z and an outspoken millennial. Like the difference in sentiments are very true to life. And I think that's a real strength of this movie. That's probably the most fun coupling, I think, that I've seen for a while in these movies. Because these movies, at the start anyway, they have a lot of like strong Gen Z messaging, right? But I think Sakamoto Yugo is not a Gen Zer, right?
He's a millennial.
He's born in 96.
He's like 96. He's on the cusp. 97 is the official start of Gen Z. So he's in that weird transition period. So I think he kind of sees both sides. Yeah.
And I think in that way, like he makes Chisato and Mahiro really likable despite all their flaws. That they have
professionalism.
Yeah, pretty much. And on the flip side of that, like Minami's character, she does come across as pretty unlikable initially, even though like, a lot of her values I also share as a grizzled millennial,
It is very true because I love Chisato and Mahiro, but when you see Minami complain the way, she's just like, oh, fuck, man. It's like you empathize with her. And I think that's the strength in the writing, really. It's just like, she's like, more.
But yes, I think that dynamic works really well, and the way that the story plays out as well, they're able to find common ground in the end, which is pretty fun as well. The action, like you said, it's there's more of it in this film than in the other ones. They carry on the same stunt coordinator, Sonomura Kensuke.
I think he makes a cameo in this movie as the that guy who is
the guy from the farm that's really good at kung fu
that's
or whatever.
him, because I was watching the behind the scenes and I see like when they were shooting the other scenes in the building, like he was choreographing them, and he also practiced a lot with like Mahiro, and he choreographed the fight scenes. So you see him a lot with the actors. So I think they gave him like a role, unless I'm mistaking him for a guy that looks like him. I think that kind of explains why he kind of has a really funny, odd fighting style. Like he has like the Mantis style of fighting, which looks
that's
quite
fun.
silly.
That's a bit of fun.
But he's a stunt coordinator. So
the fighting is pretty similar to the previous films. Like you said, I think Chisato does a lot more action in this film, a bit more hands-on. Which kind of works with her character as well. I think she would get better at it as she goes.
Well, I think she's always supposed to be quite good at it. It's just that she just didn't have the fighting skills in the first,
like the actress, you mean?
Baby Assassins movie. The actress, yeah. So now that she's done quite a few, I think she's a lot more involved in them.
But the action itself, it's that kind of that fight choreography that Japanese cinema is quite good at. It's kind of like the Kenshin style.
Like if you are
scurrying.
like a stickler, it's like, the choreo, like they're telegraphing like way too much. It's like, man, shut the fuck up.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic. It's very showy. But it's really fun to watch. And there's kind of a bigger body count in this one. There's quite a few pew pew moments, as I call them. There's a few heroic bloodshed sequences, especially towards the end of the movie. And it seems like they were using both practical gun effects and CGI, because I thought they were going the John Wick route, where they were just like, bang, they're just CGI'd in. But I think there are a few moments where Atsuko Maeda, the actor, like they gave her like a proper gun with blanks. And just watching the actors like play around with guns, and yes, guns are a controversial topic, but it's just like they just have so much fun holding guns and just locking and loading guns and stuff. And it's just something about it that people just really enjoy, just putting in a magazine and pulling the hammer, and it's just like, I feel like a fucking badass. So,
I think you probably get a better performance as well out of them if they're firing a gun with real blanks as opposed to pretending to shoot a gun. Which is not to say that it can't be done. I think John Wick has proven that blanks are not necessary. But I think if you're not as seasoned of an action star, I think having a gun that shoots blanks probably makes it easier.
Yeah. And it seems like the actors, or maybe they were very selective with the documentary or the behind the scenes, because it goes for like an hour and a half. It seems like the actors are doing all of the stunts.
Okay.
Yeah. And it just, you really appreciate how tiring an action movie is, because it's especially during some of the one-on-one fight scenes between Saori, Izawa, and Kaede.
Ikamatsu Sosuke is the actor. Yeah.
Yeah. And they would just like do takes, and then they would just sit there because I think they must have shot this during summer, because it just looks
it does look
very hot. And they just look so drained. And this is not a Hollywood budgeted movie, so I can't speak for the stereotype, but the stereotype of the Hollywood actor is when you're on a break, they don't need you. You go into your trailer and you sit and chill until you're needed on set. Whereas this one, it's like they're just sitting there and they're just eating whatever rice ball that they have for lunch, and they're not really interacting that much with the crew because they're just tired. They have a good time with the crew, but when they need a rest, they need a fucking rest.
Yeah.
And that goes for like all of the actors in this movie. Like you see a lot of training, and it was really quite fun to watch the behind the scenes, because everyone got along really well. From what I saw. But yeah, it's kind of watching the filmmaking aspect of it as well, just how like difficult it is. And the crew seems quite small. A lot of it, like they didn't really have jibs or cranes or anything like that.
It still feels it still has the feel of a fairly low budget movie. Even though it's probably the most expensive of these films, right?
Yeah, I think definitely. I don't know what the budget is for this one. I don't really see it, but yeah, it's definitely, it's not run and gun, but it's very much handheld, hands-on. Like everyone's there, probably people doing more than one role, and probably knowing Japan work culture, everyone's probably being worked overtime and maybe super tired as well. It was really cool watching them craft these fight sequences together, because I think probably out of the three, maybe this one for me has probably the best action sequences, because they are basically the same style of choreography. It's just bigger.
And longer.
There may not be as much banter in this one, which is kind of what I usually enjoy more than the action, because I can watch these two girls just hang out and just talk shit for ages, and that's just a weird reason why you would enjoy a movie. Because the first movie only has 2 action sequences really, but just the banter and the situations, and maybe the point of this franchise is a little bit more thematic, where I think Baby Assassins 3 is more of a plot. There's more of a plot. It's not really saying that much, but I guess it's probably the most classic structured storytelling wise out of the 3 movies.
I think I'm of two minds. I think, and this is where we were talking in Terrifier 3 about franchises kind of succumbing to gimmickry, or kind of changing as they continue. I think the same thing happened to the Roundup series as well. Whereas, first movie is very different to the following movies. I think the first movie is probably still my favorite of this series, just because the banter is the main focus.
And it's just fresh. You hadn't seen anything like it
Exactly,
before.
yeah. And I think you're right. Like the messaging and the themes are a lot stronger in the first movie. Like the themes of, Gen Z just struggling against these rules and this system that has been created by the previous generation. I think that's kind of been lost along the way with these movies, and it's taken more of an action focus, which I also enjoy a lot, because I think the action is really solid and well shot. Yeah. So I like these movies for different reasons, but I feel like as just something different, the first movie is probably still my favorite. But I do like this third one more than the second one, I think.
Yeah. I think the first one is still my favorite. Probably this one I think is better than the second one, but the comedy in the second one is pretty fun. Yeah, I don't know, because I think you're right in the sense that there could be some fatigue if there's too many of these movies, because I've enjoyed all the Roundup movies. I've enjoyed all the Terrifier movies. I've enjoyed all the Baby Assassin stuff. But like, what is the point where it's all right, I'm seeing the same thing again and again, and I have said, yeah, sure, I can watch these two actresses like act and talk and banter with each other, but I wonder how many stories are left to tell with these two characters.
Yeah.
But the struggle is also because they're not anime, the actresses will just get older as, time goes by. But I think the ground for them, because they're still essentially in their early 20s in this movie.
Yeah.
So you could, in a sense, tell that story of when they're in their mid-20s. You could travel with them, but maybe there might need to be a longer break. At this point in time, I still really thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie, because I think I'd watched this after Red One. And it's just watching something that as corporate as Red One, and then watching something that has a lot of heart to the craft of it. And sure, they've got a bigger budget, and at the end of the day they still want to make money, but it's more genuine. This movie seems like there's a lot of genuine passion behind it. It doesn't seem like it's a paycheck movie, especially with the amount of work that the crew and the actors themselves are putting in. Because you have to learn some pretty exhausting choreography as well as being funny at the same time. And it's going to be subjective. This kind of humor, again, is not going to be for everyone. But yeah, it's tough because I don't know. I'm not sure if they're making a fourth one or if they're taking a break on it. But at this point in time, I still want to see these movies.
Yeah, they're fun. I think the strength of this series has always been, for me, the relationship between Chisato and Mahiro. I think if they were to continue, I probably would like to see more of a character arc for the two of them. As fun as these movies are to watch, they kind of just don't really go anywhere. And I think outside of the first movie, you kind of get a sense that their relationship does get stronger as the movie goes. But then after that, it's kind of they're just best friends doing their thing, which is still fun. But
I don't know, where would you take it? Would you just do the typical, they do something that upsets the friendship and then they split up for a bit kind of story?
Maybe one of them wants to stop and the other doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's something have to be something that they do in the future, but maybe you're right. Because you eventually get sick of your job, and even if your dream job, it's still a job, and you can get exhausted by it, because it's not exactly what you think it is.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of it would be in the context of the commentary on mostly Japanese work culture and structure. So
I think it would be fun to see these characters mature as the actresses also mature.
I think so. I guess they can do that. Yeah. I mean, they release one a year. Maybe you kind of see more of that in the TV series, because there seems to be more of an arc with that. Yeah. More sudden, somber realizations. I think still the strongest moment is when Chisato has to kill the Yakuza guys in the first movies, and then she had just made friends with the maids.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, she has that like little look where she's just like, I've just lost my friends.
Yeah. Can't have a normal life kind of thing.
You can't have a normal life.
Yeah.
Because I think there are points, and I think anime does this pretty well, where it's like, yeah, I'm doing all this really weird shit and it's like almost my norm, but then something happens out of the blue where it's like, this shit is serious, you know?
Yeah.
And I think they kind of do that a little bit.
Kind of
in
a
this
little
one.
bit in this one, where Chisato thinks Mahiro is dead at one point, and it looks like she might have to confront, the reality of what they do for a living. But then it's just like, nah, not really though.
Yeah, not really.
It's just back to fun banter. Yeah.
Yeah, there's still a little bit. There's peaks of moments of it where it's like Mahiro. I think her arc in this movie is that she's kind of losing faith in her skills and as her profession. And then I think it's up to Chisato to kind of remind Mahiro that, you can kind of only really do your best. Yeah. And like we're good friends.
Just don't die.
So just don't die.
Her advice,
Yeah. I think the Minami's arc is probably done a little bit too quickly, because then she just gets shot and rescued, but not really rescued, but she's just like, I'm sorry for being a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
She it's just like, okay. I think they just had to move the plot along.
Yeah.
I think that was resolved too quickly.
Yeah.
But
the character of Kaide as well is a little odd in that he gives like the girls mercy at the start of the
when he
film.
could have just killed them.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, it's kind of doesn't make sense. It happens in the first movie as well, actually, when Chisato gets knocked out by the Yakuza and then they just like leave her alive. Yeah. I think, I don't know, they just couldn't come up with another way to do it. So let's just keep pushing forward. But something that doesn't really get talked about a lot is just the cinematography in these movies. There's quite a few long takes of just the characters doing banter.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun to watch. It's its own kind of choreography, especially like at the end when they're all at the barbecue, just chilling out, and the Minami's getting a bit drunk and whatever.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's nice. And even the setting at the beach at Miyazaki, it seems like the shots when they cut to it like make sense. Like a medium close up makes sense because from what I can tell, there isn't really any green screen plate using, like compositing an actor onto a plate, so it looks like they're all in the moment together,
They don't really do that often in Japan, it seems, just because the natural scenery and lighting is always good for some reason.
You're probably right. Like, I was watching like the scenes at the beach at the start.
Yeah,
it's literally like it's just the camera crew and maybe like a couple of grips, just holding like a big polyboard in front of them to get like to bounce the light. And it's like, is that it?
It's
like,
photo easy mode, Thavy. Japan.
Japan's photo easy mode. Yeah. There is actually a really funny moment, at the start of the movie where they're like jet skiing and then like Chisato falls off. Yeah, it was kind of like an odd way to start the documentary because she purposely falls off because she's written that in the script. But when the two actors are walking back to the beach, like Akari like does not look very happy about being like, she looks like quite serious, and it's just like, oh, is she like really pissed off? but for the rest of the documentary, she's just like laughing and smiling and obviously tired. But it's just like her face is just like, this is fucked. Like, I don't want to do that again. It's kind of the face like, don't ever make me fucking do that again. It's just like she just come back from Vietnam or something. Like she looked like traumatized. Yeah, it looks funny.
It's hard work.
Yeah, no, it's definitely hard work. Yeah.
But no, I think this movie, a lot of fun. I would watch another one of these films. I'd probably watch like all of these that they put out, to be honest. At this point, I do rank them in the same realm as the Roundup series. Just like they're really fun movies to watch.
Yeah, isn't there like 2 more Roundup movies coming out now or something?
Yeah, I think so.
We watched that this year, didn't we?
yeah, Roundup No Way Out or something. Yeah,
I'd forgotten about it. Oh yeah, it's a little bit. I think with the Roundup series, each film is probably like a little bit too similar to each other. Whereas I kind of remember a little bit more from the Baby Assassins movies.
Yeah,
but,
I hope this series doesn't become too formulaic if it does continue. I hope.
Yeah.
Yugo has a sense of like progression or like an endpoint maybe, rather than just kind of doing the same thing again and again, like the Roundup series. That said, that would be fine as well, doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think it will be fine. Yeah, like I see maybe if they're gonna stretch it to the point of exhaustion, there's probably like 3 movies left in this franchise. But I reckon realistically, I don't know how well this did in the box office because this was actually out when we were in Japan. It was out in cinemas. Yeah. But there wasn't too many screenings, so I don't know if people are still coming back, gonna flock back to it. So there'd probably be realistically 1 or 2 more movies left before I think they put the lid on it. But I think I'd be all right with that. But who knows? I might watch a teaser. Like I watched the Scavengers Reign 2 teaser.
Yeah.
And then finally, because I'd found it.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that in one of the other episodes. And then I watched it. Oh man, this looks good.
Yeah.
But of course, you know. Yeah, we gotta spend our Netflix budget on Exo Kitty season 2. You know,
yeah.
Another show that nobody likes, but no, not really. A lot of people like. There's obviously people that like it. It's a bad show. It's a waste of money. I think the people that watch Exo Kitty would benefit more from watching Scavengers Reign 2. Yeah, they might not like it, but it's kind of like it's kind of like eating vegetables. Like you may not like it, but it's better for you.
Yeah. All right. Baby Assassin's Nice Days. Got anything else to say about this film?
Nah, I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie. And this is coming off the end of like there hadn't really been that too many Asian movies that I've really liked this year, but I've actually seen a few recently that I've enjoyed, so maybe they might make it on the list. So we'll see what happens. But definitely I really like this movie. I really like this franchise. It's not easy to find this franchise. Yeah. But if you can and do get your hands on it, watch it, because I think these movies they're very interesting movies, and there's no movie that really replicates the mood that the Baby Assassins movies do.
Yeah, agreed. But guys, what did you think of Baby Assassin's Nice Days? Did you enjoy it, or do you prefer the previous 2 iterations? Let us know. You can get in touch with us at twoasianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at twoasianblokes to see what we're up to. I mean, I did mention at the start, but thank you as always for listening. Thank you for the great year. Look forward to more stuff in the new year. We're doing Jackie January again. Woo. So that's fun. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, maybe check out our YouTube channel, because we put stuff on there that doesn't always come out on the podcast platforms.
You need that visual elements. Yeah, see us.
Yeah, well, you can see JPEGs of us and as an assortment of clips. But sometimes we do a K-pop reaction, and then you can see us, and a blurred out video from Sony Music. Yeah, we haven't figured a way to get past that legality, but it's fine. We're lucky that we're independent and we don't get paid a lot. I mean, we don't get paid at all. Yeah, we're not in the employment of HYBE.
No.
Yeah.
Nah.
All right, guys. Well, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.
Bye.